এবারের থ্যাঙ্কস গিভিং ডে উপলক্ষে নিউ ইয়র্কের জনপ্রিয় খলিল বিরিয়ানি দিচ্ছে হালাল টার্কির দারুণ অফার। মাত্র $80 পাওয়া যাবে ছোট টার্কি, $100 মাঝারি আর $120 মিলবে বড় টার্কি। মজাদার টার্কির স্বাদ নিতে চলে আসুন খলিল বিরিয়ানিতে। ফুরিয়ে যাওয়ার আগেই মজাদার টার্কির অ্যাডভান্স অর্ডার করতে কল করুন 646-763-5073 অথবা 347-621-2884 নম্বরে। সরাসরি চলে আসুন ব্রঙ্কসের 1445 ওল্ড স্ট্রিট এভিনিউ এর খলিল বিরিয়ানিতে অথবা 2062 ম্যাকভিউ এভিনিউ এর খলিল হালাল চাইনিজে।
Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Please welcome to our 8th edition of Friday Night Real Talk. As you know, you can join us on channeltt.com, also in Roku TV, and also channel TT at Facebook and YouTube. And this show is brought to you by, as you know, for Senior Multi-Service. Senior Multi-Service is our community organizer. They're helping all our seniors. For anything you need, don't forget to call them 347-778-5252. We have a very exciting guest today, and I'd like to welcome and I want to introduce our community leader. She is a very particular as a growing up here in New York City in the second generation of Bangladeshi community. She's as a professional, as a financial controller. She's also is an ex-congresswoman candidate, and she's also ex-president of Jalalabad Association, which is very large organization in Bangladesh, Mita Khan. Please welcome Badrun Khan Mita.
Thank you, Mr. Haq. Thank you for inviting me to this. It's a great opportunity to be here, and I am very happy to be here tonight, this evening.
I also like to remind you, viewers, you can join us in Facebook and ask your question about anything and share your thought about anything in the community happened in the last week, and also our current issues regarding anything in your mind, and you can ask question or share your thought. So looking forward to talk to you. So last thing I know about you, Badrun Khan, you are running for congresswoman, and you had a great campaign, and you fight back with the hardest candidate ever, and you very active in community. What is your, I know even though you lose the election, what is your gain from this campaign you run with this a really celebrated candidate, and what do you gain? I know you lose the election, but I'm sure you gain a lot.
Actually, I think every election, I think everyone should learn a lot of things from their election. My election was very particularly hard. I ran against someone who was very strong, but I had some principles and thoughts of the views she had, and I thought is somehow, if you run, everything shouldn't be about winning. It's making a point, and it created so much in our community. That's what I wanted people to see. And I tried my best. You know, Corona hit too. That was very difficult. Fundraising became difficult. And especially, I do want to say, Amader Bangladeshi community actually tried hard, but we need to become more united, and we need to become all together, and we need to go out to vote. That becomes a very serious issue, because everyone always counts how many votes you get, and basically your base is most important. Amader desher je shomoshata ami dekhchi je onek geche onek jayni, and then fundraising becomes, she spent $6 million against me, and I had only $100,000. And mostly my money, and mostly what I was able to raise from my community and outside of New York. But I gained a lot, and I have a lot of good news to share. But let's go on with the show, and we could see what we could dream about. I think you should dream, and you should fight the causes. For every Bangladeshi who ran last election, I think they all succeeded, because we made us so presentable in the community. People know who we are. People know we're here to stay, and we know that it's time for us to get into any office.
I mean, in the last election, Your campaign was great, and we noticed, everybody noticed that you get a huge attention from mainstream media.
Yes.
And how you find is useful to with this, and what is your future plan as far as political career?
Well, the media was great. Every media gave me the opportunity. I was in every debate, New York one. I was in Channel 11 in the Bronx. The best thing is, the mainstream media accepted me as a candidate because I got my signatures. I raised funds, so they know that I was there. It was not a joke. It was something. I was a competer on a contest. So it's not like I was someone who was just flaking it. I tried my best, and the best thing is the media appreciated me as a candidate. And my future goal is I am running for city council in District 21. I actually, so lucky I have to say, Mr. Hawk, about a year and a half ago today, or about a couple, in September, he actually did a fundraiser for me. And today I officially registered for running for city council, Conference City Council 2021. And today was the official day I submitted my paperwork. And I'm here today in TT Channel and announcing it to everyone that I am running for city council, because I think everyone should not stop. You always fail, and the failure is a pillar of success, is what I think. And that's the way we should always think, that everything, if you fail, doesn't need you to stop. We need to focus, we need to move on, and we need to move on. We need to put someone in office, whoever it is.
Oh, that's a great news. I'm so excited to hear that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And we want to know more about the district you're running and position you're running. That's a good news, and I'm sure our viewer is the first one to hear that.
Yes.
And I'm sure our community and our viewers will be excited about it. Now, you being Democrat, I mean, how long you've been doing as a being active political member for Democratic Party?
Oh, we've been Democrats since I grew up in downtown Manhattan, so I was born and raised here. So I remember just to go down in most of the Bangladeshis who were in Allen Street, Orchard Street, Eldridge Street. I used to remember everyone actually went to vote. And I've been making sure. I remember I was much younger then, when Reagan was running and when Clinton was running, made sure everybody, I'd call my family, my friends, to make sure it votes. People say vote doesn't count. Every vote counts.
No,
and that's proven.
It's good to know. What I want to ask you, if you maybe recall or remember as your background, and I'm sure I have a similar background, the values you carried and the family you're talking about you carries, and the values they believes is a little bit far different than what democratic values. And how you being Democrat, or many of our people look like by default they're Democrat, but how that democratic values and your values, how you get a compromise and try to work it out? Do you find any challenging?
Let's see, the Democrat value, it's why I think our people always wanted a Democrat, because the Democrat is people for the immigrant. That's what it's the knowledge.
That's one point.
That's one point. And they try to help the people to come out of the clone that, you don't need to be rich all the time. You have to understand that the money should be accumulated with everyone. So now the biggest problem that's happening is the rich are getting richer, and the people, the middle class and the poor people are not. And the middle class people who are not surviving much, and the lower income is still going. If you go out and see, people make $15 an hour. You can't survive with $15 an hour. Rent is increasing. Just cost of milk, organic milk costs $6.10. $15 is not possible. But then if you see what's happening, the rich are getting richer. And what's happening? There's no balance in income. We need to balance income. We need justification of income. And I think everybody says Wall Street is an issue, right? Wall Street, we do need the corporations, but we need corporations to invest more into our community, invest more into our employees. So If you go to Wall Street, you see a CEO, CFO, and they make millions of dollars. Why didn't you bring that down? That's the problem with the Republicans and the Democrats and the values. The Democrats are going towards the left side too much. The Republicans are going too right. I think that's where the values of a problem in both parties right now. And Trump came out with that too left, too right, and then too left. I think we need to bring the parties back and see how we could work together. That's what we need the Senate to win in Georgia.
This is the one side of the values we're talking about, the financial side, and we must also realize that finance is not everything.
Correct.
So when I say the values, also I'm talking about other values that you have. And right now we know there's so-called progressive.
Yes.
Doing progressive things, and that progressive things is really directly contracting those also immigrant people who may be poor but they have a rich background, their values. And if you want to spell it out, I can just say this.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the family values. I'm talking about gay marriage. I'm talking about all other
LGBTQ activities.
and everything in the name of progressive. That doesn't fit any of this. Your
The Democrat values.
Any Democrat value doesn't fit. So, how just to do politics? Is it a finance? Is it everything for our immigrant community? That's the only thing we do, because everybody thinking like, oh, I'm poor, I have to do the Democrat. But Democrat also not practicing so much other things that doesn't fit in my life. So how we compromise on that?
So you see, I think let's say the LGBT community, is you're growing up in this country where there's certain things you accepted as is. You don't need to practice it, but you accept it as is. So I have no issues with LGBT. That's people with their turn. They have now gender neutral. You don't need to say you're a male and a female. But I think as we progress in life, there's certain things we are accepting, and that's what. I don't think it needs to be a political party to accept that. I think you as an individual have to decide that on your own. What do you want to do with it? How you want to practice? Because I think if you go back to every religion doesn't accept it, correct?
Yes.
But now you have to understand that's people's choice. And I cannot take away what people believe in, what people's choice is. If they believe they prefer to be gay, bisexual, that's something that people have to understand within their own. But as a value as myself, I can't preach someone, don't do this, don't do that, don't be a female. I could say, I would respect the value you have. And I think, but you see, Democrat values and the progressive values and the Republican values, I'm talking myself as an individual. Yes, we were preached a certain way, but as an individual, I believe people should take however way people want to live, that's the way I live. Like if I pray 5 times a day, that's my choice. But I think I understand the value of, doesn't mean Democrat Party you have to stand by LGBTQ or you have to be LGBTQ. I don't think so. I think is what you believe in, and I think putting that in the party relationship. That's why, for example, if you remember the Republican, I think it was I can't remember, senator or congressman. He was gay, and he actually went against, and he kept on going against gay marriages, and then a couple of years later, he just came out that I'm gay. So you see, that's the thing, but I think people should accept that, and I don't think that should be a political value. That's people's way of life, and you should accept it individually. You respect the way. If you don't accept it as an individual, that's fine.
I'm totally fine with that, but like you said, no one pushing you, no one stopping you, but pushing you to do 5-10 prayer in school, but same time they're promoting some education that telling you is okay to be a gay, or you okay to be have a open relationship as a teenager. There's an assistant going on, the program going on, the nurse advising with safe sex and stuff like that. That's really doesn't fit in the values that influencing the kids to the bad way, and that's what is our Democratic leader doing, at least in our state.
I don't think Democrats are influence people to have. What they're trying to do is protect young children. I call them teenagers because what's happening, they are having unsafe sex, and that's creating illness in our community or any community. I don't say. I think what they're trying to preach, you preach your choice, but they have to go to places where to go. What am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? Value of an individual as a household is totally different. Democrat Party or the Republican Party, you decide which party your choice is, but I think it doesn't choice based on LGBTQ, based if you're Muslim, based if you're, I think that's an individual who should decide which party will be better for me to live in this country, to make better place for my children to grow up. For example, Republican Party, they don't like the what's happening with climate change. They're not very big in that. But you know what? It's affecting the entire world. And we need to make sure that is, first thing I wish Biden, I know he said it, that he will go back to the Paris Treaty. That is important. But also, Republican Party doesn't agree with that. And I don't know why. So there's just a lot of values I think we should go back and forth and see.
I know, but there is a so-called the new progressive value, which is promoted by the Ocasio and also the president, who was the president last time, candidate?
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders.
Yeah.
Do you agree with all their agendas?
Look, the agenda that couple of them I did not agree with the Green New Deal. I think the Green New Deal was too strong, and I didn't believe the future of the Green New Deal. That's been the Green New Deal for several years. There's parts of it that I didn't agree with her. That's why I actually ran. The big one was the one that she wanted to make sure every federal job guarantee I didn't agree with, and I think we need a lot of things to happen in the climate change. We did, but with the nuclear ones that she said, she didn't accept a couple of the other things. A couple of other things is I think we need education to be free for 2 years. I agree with that, but they wanted 4 years. But I think there's two sectors within that. There's a city university and then the private university. And I think if it's city or community college should be free, and people should pay certain limits of their income. But if you chose to go to a private and you choose to do that, then that was your choice. Like I have a daughter who goes to college. I told her, if you go to a city university, state university, it will cost you less because my income level was a little bit high. So, and if you go to a private university, your choice is to pay that. I can't afford to pay private school. But that's what people don't understand. You have to decide where you have to go. And I think I do agree, and we need more trade schools. Not everybody is meant to go to college. Why don't we have trade school? Why don't we give more opportunity to kids in high school also, give opportunity to work for big fortune companies, and they get an internship. So a couple of things I didn't agree, and a couple of things I did agree with her. I do believe in the single payer plan that she wanted Medicare for all. I do accept everybody should get Medicaid for all. But Bernie Sanders could not even get that out from his Senate. So before we do that, let's see something. Let's slowly get up there. Bernie Sanders is a great man, and I think he has great ideas. But I think you need to start small before you go in and do big things.
All right, thank you for that. I want to switch it up a little bit. You're talking about a lot, Biden, and I'm sure our viewers, we are going through a transaction. Some of our viewers may not understand what's really going on because American people are witnessing after-election, post-election drama. And maybe you can explain us a little bit what is going on. I mean, we see we've been hanging on everybody. Again, one or two states in Nevada in the last show, we talking about playing the key role, and we recently learned that the Georgia governor, even though without a witness, they want to do recount with hand. So which direction is this election result going on? Do you think any kind of recount will change any outcome? And what is the challenge here?
I think what happened is this time around, I think President Trump didn't understand that how the mail-in ballot will make a big effect on the election. I think in these couple of these states, they're voter suppressions. Mm-hmm. So what happened is people weren't able to go vote, people didn't go vote, and they were too far away. But with the mail-in votes, what happened is people mailed in their votes. And that's where I think there was a big jump for Biden. everybody came out. And I think as a president, he didn't do what he should do. He didn't protect the people of United States of America. COVID was so bad. It killed so many people, especially, I was in the biggest, in Elmhurst, Jackson Heights, I'm sure you heard of it. We were at the epicenter. And also the way he controlled it and the way he was speaking, how it was a Chinese virus, he was anti-blacks, he's anti-Muslim, he's anti-everything. He's only about himself. And I think that creates, so look, these swing states, when he won Pennsylvania, it was just like, and if you go see the 2016 election, he didn't win, he won before. That's what the count, even if they do a recount, he still would lose.
Listen, this election is so significant and so unique is because I've been observing American election for the last 30 years.
Yes.
We have at least a dozen of state, only 1% different from Bush and, Biden and Trump. That, I don't think that close in so many states. Any of those 10 states could be go either way.
Correct.
Is only one. Some of them is even less than 1%. That's saying Donald Trump get 49% vote. That's huge. That's really.
I mean, he got a lot of votes.
And
I
don't know
that.
with all these things he's saying he's against that, and still I don't know how he got all this vote. But surprisingly, that's what I want to ask you. He also got a lot of minority vote, Muslim vote, and even Bangladeshi vote.
Yes.
How you justify? Give me one good reason why you think those minority are voting for that.
So, I could say I saw a
Hello?
couple of videos.
Hello. আমাদের লাইনে একজন দর্শক আছেন, যদি আমাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? হ্যালো,
জি জি আমি শুনতে পাচ্ছি।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আমি দর্শকের সাথে কথা বলে গেট আনসার ফর দিস। সো প্লিজ, আপনি কোত্থেকে বলছেন, নামটা বলে কথা বলবেন প্লিজ।
আসসালামু আলাইকুম নাজুল ভাই, আমি সরওয়ার চৌধুরী ব্রঞ্জ থেকে।
ধন্যবাদ সরওয়ার চৌধুরী ভাই, প্লিজ থ্যাংক ইউ ফর কল। আপনি আপনি আপনার প্রশ্ন করেন বা আপনার অনুভূতি জানান আমাদের।
ধন্যবাদ, খুবই সুন্দর প্রোগ্রাম। তো আমার একটা প্রশ্ন আছে মিতা আপার কাছে। যে প্রশ্নটা হচ্ছে, আমরা দেখি যে আমাদের এই কমিউনিটি থেকে যখন মূলধারায় কেউ নির্বাচন করতে যান, তখন পেছনে বা সাথে আরো অনেকেই দাঁড়িয়ে যান। তো যাদের হয়তো কোনো আশা নেই পাশ করার বা কোনো একটা পর্যায়ে যাওয়ার। এটা কেন হয়? এটাই প্রমাণিত হয় যে আমাদের মধ্যে ঐক্যের অভাব বা ওই ধরনের কিছু। একটু যদি মিতা আপা একটু বিশ্লেষণ করতেন।
ধন্যবাদ সৌরভ ভাই। সৌরভ ভাই was asking that when we run for mainstream election, we see when one of us stand, then there's more people try to jump in the same position. So he's saying, what is the reason for this? What about our community unity? And at least mainstream election gele amader we should have unity. So what is the reason that we cannot unite and fight?
Sarwar bhai, thank you. Actually, that's a big issue in our community. এক জায়গায় আমি শুনতে পারতেছি অনেক বাঙালি in one post, but you see, you can't stop anybody because unfortunately they could run if they want to. How, as a community, maybe we could put them together and individually and see if we could do one. But as an individual, you as me, you don't have a right to stop anyone. And that's where the problem is actually happening now these days. Everybody believes they could do better than one another, and I think it's people's individual act or how they perceive themselves is what they can do. And আমরা বাংলাদেশ হিসাবে সবাই যে বসে ওদেরকে বুঝাইতে পারি, that's a different thing. But yes, অনেক বাঙালি is running, and but also in the flip side, যেত লোক run করে, as a community, people will know we're getting stronger, we're getting politically active, and people will see that they have a future in our community because we're here to stay. We're not going back. And I know a lot of people buy a lot of land in Bangladesh. Shobai bolte say, please sell it and bring it here, because you know what? Your kids are not going back. But I think everybody should go back and should not forget their heritage.
So maybe if you not forget this question was asking about that Donald Trump get almost 49% vote. That's a huge alarming for people who don't believe in his agenda. And I say that even those among 49% is not only just white supremacy. There is a minority people. There is a maybe Mexican people, Bengali people, then Muslim people. What makes them do it?
So, like you said before, some people are very focused. I'm Republican. I won't vote for anybody. I will just vote Republican. Like, you know what we used to remember before when any Bangladeshi or someone said, they would say, "Ami kintu Democrat dekhe shob vote diye aschi." They don't even know, but Democrat dekhe shob diye aschi, right? You remember those times? So same thing. Some people are very focused. I'm Republican. Doesn't matter who's Trump. I will still vote for anybody because he's Republican one. Some other minorities believe, there was one video, was very sad. There was a black woman in YouTube. There was a video. She said, I voted for Trump because he's trying to protect the people who are in the United States. I don't make too much money. If other immigrant comes in, then where am I going to, how he's going to feed me? So I voted for him. That was so strange. This is a country of a melting pot. This is people who migrate to become a future here. So you can't stop people from coming.
Well, that's not her blame because he's giving this message to the people.
That's what it is. But that's what she said. And there are some people, like some Hollywood people, who actually voted for him. And they believe the economy will be better if he runs as a president. He believes in business. He doesn't believe in giving anything handout to people. He doesn't believe in welfare. He doesn't believe in Medicaid. He doesn't believe in anything. But for them, I even asked that question. If you go to the rural area of United States, especially there's more white people, they're very poor. And they do live on welfare. And I don't understand why people will vote for him. He's taking Medicaid away. He's taking Obamacare away. Why? It baffles me too. But the way he preaches and the way people are just too radical right.
Well, that's the sad.
And the
also,
minority too. And I
yeah,
think
some minority also. But I know some people were thinking, there's also thinking that because they get the pandemic money, that thing is the president gives them money,
No, he
so they
did
should
not.
vote for that. So, I mean,
But it's a misconception.
That's why we have to improve our awareness. And I'm going to come to you running for election. Do you know, in your view, what is the really main agenda for your district will be, or our minority community or Muslim minority community, that you really gonna make a change? And one of the things, how you gonna improve the awareness for the people who understand at least how to vote, because our people doesn't know how to vote.
One thing is, I think the biggest thing right now, just not for our community, housing is a big issue. It's an extremely issue. I always say Elmhurst got hit the most. I'll tell you why. Because if you go see the apartments, like 8 people living in a 1-bedroom apartment, is because they can't afford the rent. So I saw something today. There's a new building up in, I think, Vernon Boulevard or Hunts Point, next to where I live. So one studio is $1,900. Mm-hmm. 2-bedroom is like $2,800 or $2,300. Something is opening in 37th Street, Roosevelt Avenue, somewhere there. That's insane. So $2,800, how is that affordable housing? Like for a family to go in, and if a family makes $15 an hour, how is that possible? Like college students who are getting out, they're making maybe $30,000-$35,000.
Yeah, but what is the solution?
The solution,
that
that has
stay here.
Actually, no. A lot of people are leaving New York.
No, they
There
are
because of the
because,
pandemic. People are leaving a lot. But I think the biggest thing, they need to revamp, not only from the city or state level, from the Congress level, how they can make sure that a 2-bedroom apartment should not cost $2,800. That's not affordable housing. That's a big issue everywhere. And also greenery. Because the way climate change is affecting us, we need to have more parks. We need to plant more trees. We need to how kids could grow without plastic. Use other things that is reusable, especially when you see like our picnics. Amader Bangladeshi onek picnic kore. All the plastic we use, the cups, the plates, that's hazardous for our environment. Use reusable plate, use paper plates, straws. Like, these are the things that I want to, and the awareness is teaching people. I think the more people who run, people will understand, oh, আমার একটা মেয়ে আছে, আমার একটা niece, আমার একটা বোন, আমার একটা babi. Someone is running that you know. To help them, I think that's where we could get their awareness, especially the media, আমাদের Bangladesh media. Hats off to them. They've been doing great, and they প্রচার যেরকম ওরা করে, it's nice, and I should thank that, because for my sake, for myself, and I think for everybody, I think all of Bangladesh people knew that we had like 15 people running in the election of June 23rd, 2020 election.
Now, you're talking about this housing issue, and even moving out the city is not an option for a lot of people, because if you want to move out, it also costs money. But parallel to this is a job issue. I don't know what is your plan will be, or any plan to create a new job. And I want to bring this issue to you because after this pandemic, I'm also going to ask you again how the governor handled it, because I know our death rate went down, but there's a blame from every side. Our economy crashed.
Right.
New York City is all the business is ruined. Is all 75% restaurant going out of business? They cannot pay the rent. And imagine how many people are working there, and a lot of immigrant people are working there. And the taxi industry crashed, hotel industry crashed,
Yes.
and the restaurant industry crashed. In meantime, what happened? All the business now mobilized to different direction, and all the business dying, and only guess what? Who's moving up? Who's booming? Amazon. And the Amazon was coming to New York, and we lost them. Imagine if they're here right now, how many people can work there? So what is your plan, and what do you think you can help somehow to improve the job? Because that will be the next crisis.
Well, so the biggest crisis that happened, especially in New York, the hotel industry, the service industry, the taxi, the limousine industry, the Uber, all the industry got affected by it. But let's talk about Governor Cuomo. He actually took the COVID, and actually, even though people died, he actually protected people too. If we kept on going on, if we kept on going out, then we would have an effect. We had that much death, we had more. Look what's happening right now. It's went back up because school is open, mostly trains are open, buses are open, restaurants are open. It went up. As you know, about 2 weeks ago, United Kingdom, they shut down. And unfortunately, the economy is going down, but it has to be a balance.
You have to be balanced. But
Yeah, you have to balance.
do you think he did the balance? That's the blame. The public is blaming him boldly.
Yeah, but I think if he didn't, then we had so much death. I think if Cuomo didn't shut down, I think if we shut it down earlier, it would not have been that bad. And then we could slowly move back up. So we shut it down, he slowly opened it, everything was going well. But then now it's rising again. And if you count both ways, what we have to do, yes, the hotel industry is the biggest industry. Actually, just not United States, the entire world got hit by it, because you see all the tourists, all the hotels, they're leaving. But now, if we keep it open, many people will die. He didn't want to risk the lives of Americans. And that's where the problem is. And I think to play it safe, we should shut down and slowly revamp and reopen again. And for jobs, Amazon, yes, was a big loss.
Give me 1 second. I think we have a caller. I'd like to talk to. Hello, caller. আপনি কি শুনতে পাচ্ছেন আমাকে? Hello? Hello? লাইনটা ক্লিয়ার না, প্লিজ। আমরা পরে আবার চেষ্টা করব। প্লিজ কন্টিনিউ।
We were saying about COVID, right?
Yeah.
COVID. So now let's say if we shut down again, right? But I don't know how completely they're going to shut down. He doesn't want school to be in effect, because children are going to, because COVID is hurting children now too. And I think with Cuomo's, I'm a big fan of him. I think he saved a lot of people's life by closing down. If you see, every state was looking at his briefing. Everybody's like, yeah, any state I called, any friends I called, what are you doing right now? We're listening to Cuomo. Because he showed the safe of opening back. So slowly we opened up. We're good.
Hello?
But let's see what happens now. And jobs is a very difficult thing right now.
We have someone on the line. Hello. আমাকে কি শুনতে পাচ্ছেন, কলার?
জি, আমি শুনতে পাচ্ছি।
কি আপনি কে বলছিলেন? নামটা বলে একটু আপনার কোশ্চেন করবেন।
জি, আমি আকাশ বলছিলাম নিউ ইয়র্ক থেকে।
থ্যাংক
আমার
ইউ আকাশ ভাই, থ্যাংক ইউ ফর কলিং। হ্যাঁ বলেন।
জি, you are most welcome. I have actually small questions regarding the convener that আমরা যেটা দেখতে পাচ্ছি the কাউন্সিল ইলেকশনে আমাদের বাঙালি কমিউনিটি থেকে অলমোস্ট 6 বা 7 জন নির্বাচন করতে যাচ্ছে। তো আমার কোশ্চেন হচ্ছে এক্ষেত্রে কি আমরা একজন প্রতিনিধি সিলেক্ট করে বাকি 5 জন বা 6 জন যারা করেন তারা কি তারা সাপোর্ট করতে পারেন? লাইক একজনকে সাপোর্ট করা,
ধন্যবাদ।
5 জন ইলেকশনে করলাম বাট 5 জনই হেরে গেলাম।
ধন্যবাদ। আমি আপনার কোয়েশ্চেন বুঝতে পেরেছি এবং আমি শিওর দর্শকরা আপনার প্রতিক্রিয়া বুঝতে পেরেছেন, এবং আমি এটা শেয়ার করব আমাদের গেস্টের সাথে, যদিও এটা বয়সটা জান নাই। তো আকাশ ভাই কল করেছেন, উনি হি অলসো সে দ্য ভেরি মাচ সেম থিং দ্যাট why the 6 or 7 people running for same position for Bangladesh, can we get united and nominate one among our community? And I'm sure the
Well, there's
You agree
38
with that?
seats, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, 38 states, so District 24, District 26, District 37, 39. So, because there's 38 seats open this year in City Council. And in each city council, I don't know how many people are running. In my district, I don't know if there are any Bangladeshi, I'm not sure, maybe there is. I heard someone else is there, but that's their choice. I can't tell someone don't run. And if you can, maybe you guys could meet with certain community leaders. I, as an individual, I can't tell anybody to stop because that's their right to run. And if they believe they're a better candidate, you can't say no. But yes,
I think
absolutely.
he's trying to say why our community is so divided. I know you cannot say stop. No one say no one to stop, but nobody, you have to be justified because we are so small community still. If you look back, the recent days, very early past, we were too busy with doing regional organization and election. And we always, people always blame them, our candidate to go to APEC and don't support us, but we never have any political coalition. So instead of making a political coalition, why we just like all of a sudden we jump into the mainstream politics, and now all of a sudden we are jumping together because we're so small, so we should be more unified. And why not? What is the failure of the unification here?
I mean, that's based on every community. I think if you go to every community, I think it's just not in Bangladesh. If you see the Guyanese community up in South Ozone Park, that side, they actually have a lot of candidates too. And I think just in our community, I think if people come in together, if the grouping of people, I think that's where this situation happened. It's from grassroots. I'm with this person, I'm with this person. If that stops, maybe we could unite.
Okay, I mean, I think you say that. So, I mean, you kind of like mix of you born here, you new generation American. Same time, you highly influenced with our Bangladeshi mainstream Bangladeshi community. You know, you're not like true like you know both sides because I'm saying because you run Jalalabad, where is really Bangladesh politics take place, and you survive there, you president. So how you maybe you the one can make this bridge and convert we have a lot of energy. Our Bengali people, we love politics, we organize, we everybody we want to be leader. We have a lot of leaders.
Yes.
But we have to put all this energy together and put it in one pipeline. How are you going to do that?
But
How
you
you
see,
gonna...
I just, in my opinion, I can't say it's just my opinion. I think as a Bangladeshi leader, I did the Jalalabad election. It was a very difficult election. I had to learn a lot of language. I didn't know proper Bengali, so my husband had to teach me. My mom, my Bobby, everybody taught me. And I have seen that within a village, there's like 7 groups of people. So I know how to it's not maneuver how I adjust to the people and talk to the people. But the problem is I think what I did was able to reach everyone. That's I think what everyone has to do. If you don't reach every side, and with the new generation, I think the children who are growing up here who knows a lot of more politics, I think we should bring them up front. And our organization are actually dying out. It's because 10 years ago, when I was the president, I was a president of 15,000 people. Right now, the voters less than 5,000 is people, because people want more. The younger generation want more. What does Jalalabad Association do? What does Molivaz Association do? What are they doing beside picnics and
Yeah,
beside
come back
that?
to you. দর্শক লাইনে আছেন?
জি, লাইনে আছি।
হ্যাঁ, আসসালামু আলাইকুম। নামটা বলবেন এবং আপনার
ওয়ালাইকুম
question
সালাম।
করবেন।
আমার নাম ওসমান চৌধুরী। আমি একটা ছোট্ট প্রশ্ন করতে চাচ্ছি, সেটা হচ্ছে
ওসমান
কি,
চৌধুরী ভাই,
এই
ধন্যবাদ আপনাকে কল করার জন্য। অবশ্যই আপনি কোয়েশ্চনটা করেন।
আমার নাম ওসমান চৌধুরী।
হ্যাঁ, ওসমান
আমি
চৌধুরী ভাই, ধন্যবাদ, আপনাকে শুনতে পাচ্ছি। আপনার কোয়েশ্চনটা করেন।
আমি কোশ্চেনটা হচ্ছে খুব সিম্পল। এই প্রোগ্রামটা কি বাংলাদেশিদের জন্য না বিদেশিদের জন্য? এখানে মেজরিটি কাস্টমার কিন্তু আপনি যারা আছে মধ্যবিত্ত, তারা এখন বাংলাই বেশি পছন্দ করে এবং বুঝেও। এভাবে যদি ইংলিশে বলতে থাকেন অনেকের জন্য কষ্ট হবে এবং টিভির দর্শক কমে যাবে, বোর হয়ে যাবে, কারণ তারা অনেক ইংলিশ বুঝে না, যদি মাইন্ড না করেন।
খুব ভালো কথা। আমরা চাচ্ছি যে আমাদের মধ্যে এই মিক্স কালচারটা নিয়ে আসতে হবে। আপনি কি জানেন কি জানি না, আজকাল যারা নতুন প্রজন্ম বাংলাদেশে, তারা কিন্তু অনেক ইংরেজিতে কথা বলে এবং কথা বলতে পছন্দ করে, এবং যারা নতুন প্রজন্মে তারা ওটাকে বেশি কনভিনিয়েন্ট মনে করতেছে। তা আমাদের ইনফরমেশন ঘাটতির জন্য আমরা নতুন প্রজন্মকে ক্যাচ করতে চাচ্ছি। আর আপনারা যারা আমেরিকাতে বসবাস করেন, আপনার কোশ্চেনের জন্য অবশ্যই ধন্যবাদ। আপনারা যারা আমরা নর্থ আমেরিকাতে বসবাস করি, অবশ্যই আমরা এখানে ইংরেজি জেনেই বসবাস করি এবং আমরা ওইভাবে আমরা এখানে স্থায়ী বাসিন্দা। আমরা সবাই এখানে বাংলাদেশি আমেরিকান। তো আমাদের দুটা ভাষাই আমাদের জন্য সমানভাবে গ্রহণযোগ্য এবং সম্মানিত, এবং আমরা চাচ্ছি দুটাতেই আমরা হওয়ার জন্য। তো এই শোটা আমরা আসলে দুইভাবেই করে থাকি। তো আজকে আমাদের এখানে যিনি গেস্ট আছেন, উনি হলেন এখানকার বেড়ে ওঠা নতুন প্রজন্মের আমাদেরই একজন কমিউনিটি লিডার, এবং ওনার স্বাচ্ছন্দ্যের জন্য, মনের ভাব প্রকাশ করার জন্য আমরা দুটা ভাষাতেই কথা বলার চেষ্টা করছি।
Mr. Hall, can I
আপনি
say
কি,
something?
yes.
ওনাকে একটু বলি যে
Yes, you
actually
want.
আমাদের এডুকেশনটা কিন্তু ইংলিশ, mostly our English.
Right.
So when I present or I have to answer a question, আমি বাংলায় বললে একটু কনফিউজ হয়ে যায়।
Right.
ইভেন তো বাসায় আমাদের বাংলা বাচ্চাদেরকে আমরা কিন্তু, আপনার মেয়ে বাসা বাংলা বসে, রাইট? সবাই বলতে পারে। বাট when we sit somewhere and we have to do some question and answering, আমার জন্য English will be better because I was educated in that. That becomes a big deal. বাসায় কিন্তু বাচ্চারা বাংলা কিন্তু আমাদের, স্পেশালি আমাদের সিলেটি ভাষায়, এগুলো people teach Sileti to most of their kids. But what happen is when you have to sit somewhere and আপনি যেরকম আমাকে question and answer জিজ্ঞেস করছেন, I can't answer it on বাংলা because I'll get tongue twisted.
বাট আমি যেটা বলতে চাই, ফ্রাইডে নাইট টক শো আমরা দুইটা ভাষাকেই সমানভাবে সম্মান জানাতে চাই। এবং আপনি আর কিছু বলবেন? আপনি
আর একটা কথা বলবো যে ফার্স্ট জেনারেশনরা ওরা ফরেন টিভি দেখে, আমেরিকান টিভি গুলো বেশি দেখে। এই বসে বসে টাইম টিভি, এই টেলিভিশনে তারা এখন যাবে, তাদের কাছে বোরিং ফিল হবে, কথা বলছেন। তারা দেখে সিএনএন, অন্যান্য যত চ্যানেল আছে, তারা ফার্স্ট জেনারেশন যারা, তারা কিন্তু ওই কালচারের সাথে ধাবিত হয়ে গেছে। আর যে মিতাটা একটা কথা বলছে, সেটা আমি একমাত্র, আমাদের বাংলাদেশ সোশ্যাল প্রোগ্রাম অনবরত বাংলায় কথা বলে যায়, আর এখানে আসলে চেঞ্জ ইজ ক্যারিয়ার, মানে আমি ডিজাস্টেড।
No, I mean, there is a depend on the issue anyway. তো আপনার মানে আপনি কি ইংরেজি ভাষার প্রতি আপনার কোনো বিরাগ বাজন আছে?
না, আমার কোনো বিরাগ নাই, আমার কোনো বিরাগ নাই। I also speak a little bit English when I was community board member.
আমাদেরকে দুটো।
ঠিক আছে, আপনাদের সময় নষ্ট করার, দর্শকরা অনেক লাইনে আছে, আপনাদের প্রোগ্রাম চলে যান।
ধন্যবাদ। আমরা চেষ্টা করব আমরা মিক্স করে দুইভাবে কথা বলার। আপনার অনুভূতির জন্য আপনাকে ধন্যবাদ।
জি, থ্যাংক ইউ। খালি এখানে না, সবগুলো টেলিভিশনে আমাদের বাংলাদেশের কিছু লোক যে ওই ইংলিশের মধ্যে দুই চারটা কথা বলে, তার বাদ বাকি লোকের জন্য কোনো চিন্তাই করে না। সাধারণ দর্শকরা, সাধারণ মানুষ যারা কাম শেষে আসে দেখে, অনেকে বাবা মা সবাই তার ইংলিশ
চেষ্টা করবো আপনার না, আপনি তো আমাদের শো যদি নিয়মিত দেখেন, আমরা কিন্তু দুইটা ভাষাতেই মিক্স করে কথা বলার চেষ্টা করি। তো কারণ আমাদের উদ্দেশ্য হলো নতুন, হ্যাঁ, এবং নতুন প্রজন্মে যারা, তারাও আমাদের এখানে আগ্রহ হবে, এটাই আমাদের উদ্দেশ্য আর কি। তো আমরা কোনো ভাষাকেই ছোট করে দেখতে চাই না, কারণ আমরা এদেশে যারা অনেক বছর ধরে আছি, আমরা এ ভাষার, এই দেশের সাথে, এই কৃষ্টির সাথে, এদেশের আইন শৃঙ্খলার সাথে আমরা জড়িত, ওতপ্রোতভাবে জড়িত। এবং দুটা ভাষাই আমাদের, আপনি যদি ইন্ডিয়ার দিকে নজর দেন, তারা কিন্তু প্রত্যেকের নিজস্ব ভাষা আছে, তারপরে তারা সবাই হিন্দিতে কথা বলে এবং ইংরেজিতে কথা বলে কমিউনিকেট করার জন্য, ওটা নিয়ে কোনো কথা হয় না। আপনি ওখানকার অনেকগুলা লোকাল শোতে দেখবেন যে কমিউনিকেশনের কমিউনিকেশনের জন্য ওরা বিভিন্ন সময় বিভিন্ন ভাষা ইউজ করা হয়। তো এখানে কোনো ভাষাকে ছোট করে দেখার কোনো অভিপ্রায় নাই। তো ধন্যবাদ আপনার কলের জন্য। আসসালামু আলাইকুম। আমরা যা বলছিলাম, বাংলাদেশ কমিউনিটির যে অ্যাক্টিভিটি আসলে আমাদের এখন, আপনি ডু ইউ থিঙ্ক দ্যাট ইট ইজ এ টাইম উই শুড find a way to involve our new generation? If you look at that, so far, all the community activity is mostly the people who came from Bangladesh, like me, who grow up there. We don't find much people like who grow up here, like you. So whoever grew up here, like our new generation, we're right now in 20s. Those people don't come around neither in political activity, neither in community activity.
They do their
What is
activities
the reason?
differently. First of all, they don't want to get mixed up because they feel like, they feel like that we as our community don't do much. Like, and I say, look, let's, for example, the picnic, everybody complains about them. And what I always see the positive side. You get together, you get to see your community, you speak together, you hang out, and you go home. That's some sort of an activity. I tell my children that all the time. They say, what do you guys do? I said, look, even though we do a picnic, we do some celebrations, 21 February হোক আর বৈশাখ হোক, if nobody does it, then সবাই তো বাসায় বসে থাকবে. There's some way these small organizations help, but I think they're looking for more different type of stuff who can help people who need jobs, who could get help for mental health clinics. We need domestic violence issues in our community. So I think people are looking, and you know what the biggest issue we have is interracial marriages. সবাই বাসার মধ্যে এই প্রবলেমটা আছে যে কেউ বিদেশি বিয়ে করতেছে, কেউ বাঙালি বিয়ে করতেছে, কেউ ইন্ডিয়ান, আফ্রিকান, চাইনিজ. But we need to accept that, and how we're accepting it, that's a problem. And the other problem is there's a lot of male and female যেরকম bride একটা issue. Well, I don't find a good suitable husband for me, or I don't find a good suitable bride for me. So there's a lot of aspects in just because we are upcoming, because I'm a first generation, second generation, my daughter second, third, and things are changing. When I went 20 years ago to college, আমার মা বাবা আমাকে dorm, they said you can't go, you have to stay home. And আমার মেয়েরা বলতো you could go to the dorm. So look at how different our ideology is. And সবাই বলতো যদি বাচ্চারা নষ্ট হয়ে যায়, I believe that you should have faith in your children, and I think parents need to get more involved in their children's life.
So you know
before it's happening. I know who their friends are. They could have male friends, they could have female friends, who they are, where they're going. I get more involved. I'm their friend.
I think the key word that you have to get friendly with your kids.
Absolutely.
But there's a huge gap between the new generation of youth and the immigrant parents. The language is the one thing that the scholar was saying, because we try to keep in talking Bangla, and we have this issue, the complaint that some teenager thing when the parents are all the time talking Bangla at home, even though they're knowledgeable, they're educated, they came from Bangladesh, they may be professional, but they just try to teach them Bangla and they talk Bangla. The kids think my parents are dumb. They don't know anything. So they try to share things with them and try to keep them in the back door. What advice?
I think learning any type of language. Look, in school, you learn Spanish, you learn French, Italian. I think learning a language, I know how to speak Bengali, I know the dialogues, I know, তেমন ভালো বলতে পারি না, but Sileti I know very well. I know how to speak Urdu, I know how to speak Hindi, I know how to speak that. And I think the more language you learn, and it's smarter you get. So I think every parent who's trying to teach their children Bangla, I think is a great thing. My older daughter speaks Bangla very well, but আমার ছোট মেয়ে পারে না. And I tried every day. Even if I answer in Bangla, she wouldn't answer. So when she was small, they would speak to me, আমার বড় মেয়েটা. They would speak to my mother and my father, and my mother and my husband in Bangla, but they'll speak to me and my dad in English. So in the same car, in the same car, how they flip. is because they felt that's the comfort zone. আমার ছোটো মেয়েটা একবারে it's just horrible just to be Bangla, the way she speaks Bangla. We try and teach her, but I think they don't want to learn. And I think it's a pushing of parents. After a while, I give up.
I know it's the same for many families too. So before we go, we almost at the end of the show, and we have to wrap it up. But I just want to actually touch one. This is a serious problem that we need to build this bridge between this immigrant parent and this Bangladeshi parents, and they need to be a common language. Like we're saying again, Bangla. And same time, they both need to speak Bangla and both need to speak English. So this way, the kids don't think the parents is dumb. Just lightly, if you can say, if you think before you go about the domestic violence, what do you think? How we can survive, because this has become a huge problem for our community, the domestic violence.
Domestic violence is increasing. I have faced many families who I was trying to help. But I think what happened is why domestic violence is increasing. I think is because you're dependent on someone. And I tell the wives and the husbands who are out there that try to become independent. I know that's really hard to do, but try to teach yourself how you can maybe help or come out of a bad situation. I tell everybody there's a lot of homes, a lot of people could help. Anybody who's stuck in domestic violence needs to come out, because that will kill not only you, but it will kill a child. That's why I was so involved in many families. I wish I could help everyone and possible, but there are help out there. I helped many people come out of a situation, and you know what? People need to go to therapy. It's very important.
Do you want to blame particularly any side, male and female, mostly Bangladeshi families, immigrant families, to blame for more for domestic violence, or equally?
I think the females are suffering more. That's absolutely
No,
for
who
sure.
to blame more?
For who's creating it, we mean blame more who's happening. Mostly, as I said, the female are the one who are suffering the most.
They're suffering more. Who to blame to cause it? Is the men. That's
Yeah,
what
of
you
course.
think
Yeah.
So you're just saying the other way.
I just say, yeah.
And is it the cultural reason?
No, I don't think it's not the cultural reason, and it's not the Islamic way of life. Islamic way of life, you treat your wife as equal to
So
you.
what is the reason? If it's not cultural, why the men?
I think the culture, it could be the backward thinking. That thinking of, if you go back to India, you know how they said they don't like females? Females are not the best. That's why they used to kill the female daughters.
Well, many cultures have that.
In many culture, I don't know in Bangladesh, but I didn't see that in Bangladesh. No, absolutely it does. Because they always say, I want a boy. I want a
No.
boy, not a girl. Because I think it gives the name of the father and the mother. Like for me, my father, everybody knows me because I do community activity work. I did Congress. My brothers are fine with it. They don't mind that everybody knows me. My father is related to me, and they know this is Mita's father. But I think it's the backward of people ideology that female cannot do anything. Male could do pretty much same thing, except male cannot deliver a child. That's what I think.
Well, exactly right. I think is somehow is our backward thinking. Before I just want to share this story also 1 second, that I was just recently watching an interview, very long interview, but the girl went to the medical school, and she almost became an assistant doctor right now, whatever it is, and she's now 27-year-old, but she fled the house to become a doctor or whatever. The brother still doesn't want to talk to her because she did so. So that's the backward thinking. I want to thank you, Badrul Khan Mita. I want to congratulate for your Congress, Council member candidacy. I want to congratulate and wish you all the best. And I want to thank you that you declare here in Channel TT. Our viewers is the first one to know, and I'm sure they will wish you all the best. Thank you, viewers,
Thank you.
joining. You were listening this joining us from Channel TT .net, also .com, and also you were on the Facebook.com and YouTube.com. This show was brought to you by Senior Multi-Service. Senior Multi-Service is our community organizer who are helping our senior. So all the youth out there, if you have a grandmother, if you have a parents who really need any help, you busy your work, just call Senior Multi-Service They're all the time waiting for you. 347-778-5252. Until the next week, see you again. Thank you.
Thank you.
আপনি কি বয়স্ক পিতামাতা ও গুরুজনদের দৈনিক সেবা নিয়ে চিন্তিত? ভাববার কোনো কারণ নেই। সিনিয়র মাল্টি সার্ভিস ইনক আপনাকে দেবে বয়স্ক সেবার সকল সমাধান। আপনি কি বয়স্কদের সেবা করছেন? তাহলে আপনার সময়ের মূল্য হবে উপযুক্ত পারিশ্রমিক। SMS ইনক স্বল্প মূল্যে বাড়ির দৈনিক কাজকর্মে যে কোনো ধরনের বয়স্ক সেবা দিতে সদা প্রস্তুত। নিউ ইয়র্ক স্টেটের বয়স্ক ও অক্ষম বাসিন্দাদের আস্থা SMS ইনক এর পূর্ণ ব্যবস্থা। বিস্তারিত জানতে কল করুন 347-778-5252।
সাদাকা ফাউন্ডেশন USA, মার্কিন যুক্তরাষ্ট্র